What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Hope potentially being restored for the old Transformers games to bring them back. We got a lot of news to go over, and luckily, we're at the good part of it. There was a little bit of a scary part where maybe this thing wouldn't happen. Seems like everything's kind of lined up to bring back these Transformers games. Now, I gravitate, of course, towards the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, those being, in my opinion, the two best Transformers games. I know people will say Revenge of the Fallen is an extremely good one. Even the original Transformers game is really good. There's definitely some good ones. There's also definitely some bad ones. But you know what? Bring them all back. There are many of them, right? You got the one from Platinum Games. You got many of them primarily from Activision. And that's the big thing, right? So with the Activision Blizzard thing seemingly going to go through, really, that part of it is pretty much over. What we all moved on to afterwards was, okay, they got a lot to do. You got the Guitar Heroes of the world. You got the Prototypes of the world. You got Transformers. Bring it back. And with Xbox, with Microsoft, put the thing on Game Pass. These games, specifically the one behind me here, War for Cybertron, God, it is hard to find, and if it's not hard to find, it's pretty expensive. I would like the prices to go down so I can get myself a copy specifically of this one because I already have Fall of Cybertron. But one thing that would help is getting it on Game Pass, right? Making it available to everybody. Now, as I've said in the past, I think specifically with these games, right, the multiplayer component, I want it. I think they're big parts of the game. I understand that. Will they appear? I highly doubt it. That's just history. Most times when games get brought back, most times the multiplayer gets left behind. Yes, there's a few, like the Master Chief Collection, right? Kind of keeping that, but very, very rare that you would bring up the multiplayer along with the game. Okay, so we're in that little honeymoon phase of feeling good, saying, okay, the deal's going to go through. This is our chance. This is our chance to get some pretty rare Transformers games that you can only get physically, and that's why they're so expensive. Let's get them on Game Pass. Well, then Hasbro kind of threw a wrench into it, right? They gave some good news, but they also gave some bad news. And I think this was at Comic-Con, at San Diego Comic-Con a few weeks ago. They were asked about Transformers, about, hey, Microsoft, and what do you think? Could we get these things back? And their answer, again, had some good and bad. The good was they're very willing. They want the games to be available to more people. They want the games specifically to go on Game Pass. Okay, so they're aware. I think they know the business maybe to a degree, right? I mean, again, what they're about to say, I guess they lied to people, so you got to kind of keep that in your head. But it does seem like they want the games out. They want people to play the games. But the bad news to that situation was, well, they feel that Activision has lost the code. So literally, the source code to the games, they have no idea. Activision does not know where it is, and they hope that with the deal having, or about to go through, that they can kind of look through all of their servers and find the code for those games, because currently they do not have the code. Those were the big headlines going around really over the last, week and a half. Now, actually, today is the day that this news is now updated in a very good way, I suppose. But up until today, that was what people were running with is, Hasbro wants this to come back. Everybody's excited, but it seems like the games are lost to time. And that would be pretty scary, right? If they're gone and you can't even find them in the coding, well, you can't remaster them, you can't remake them, you can't re-release them. You literally can't even find them, so how could you do any of the other things? Okay, so today we got the best news possible for it. And this comes from Lulu Cheng, and she is the CCO and EVP Corporate Affairs at Activision Blizzard. So this is the girl. This is actually a person who's tweeted, I think, quite a bit about the whole Activision Blizzard deal, coming from yes, it should go through and all that stuff. I've seen her, she looks familiar to me. Pretty high up position. Okay, this is not a nobody. This is somebody who is about to make a splash here. So she literally posts, these headlines are wrong. We have the code, and it's not lost and never was. And she has the article of, Hasbro wants to re-release old Transformers game, but Activision lost the code. Now, there's some, jokes to it about, Harmony, and she's responding to some of those things. I don't really want to read it as a joke. I don't really care to think of it as a joke because this is serious talk. Now, no, I mean, it's good. That's great, right? As long as she's being serious, as long as she's not lying. Now, the thing is, that means Hasbro is lying, right? So, they have the code all along. There is one missing link that I have failed to talk about in past videos. People have brought it up. I've done a little, and by a little research, I mean maybe 10 seconds of research. So what it seems like is Activision had a license to do, Transformers games. The license was from 2006 to 2017. So they no longer have a license to do Transformers games. I'm not like well versed in this stuff, so I could totally be wrong. However, I assume that even if you're just talking about re-releasing it, putting on Game Pass, I have a feeling you wouldn't be able to do that either, because you are technically bringing it back, correct? Maybe. That could be wrong. Maybe they're allowed to literally just re-release it, but not remaster it, because remastering would be a new game. Remaking it would be a new game. They would need the license. I'm not sure. In my mind, I'm going to assume you need the license to do anything. So, whether it's right or whether I'm right or wrong, or whether somebody else is right or wrong or whatever, I hope that can get sorted. So if they need the license, well, guess what? Go out and get it, right? Now you got Xbox, you got Microsoft behind you. Go over there and say, hey, we want a license. Just give us a year, and then let us put out this Transformers game. I mean, I've talked about it before. I think some sort of remastered collection for the Cybertron games, the two of them specifically, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. Combine them, put them in one package. I think that would absolutely rock. You got Activision, I think, did 5 or 6 of them, so there's more than just the Cybertron ones, but those are the prominent ones, I think the best ones. I think that makes a lot of sense to combine them. Or if you are looking for a remaster, remake candidate, I think those would be the ones that should get it. I think they'd be the most popular. I think people could get behind it the most. Multiplayer, whether that happens or not, that would be a big deal. But I think that's kind of where you start. So, again, at the end of the day, it seems like good news. It seems like Hasbro was lying and that they do have the code. And okay, well, and I tweeted, all right, well, then there's nothing standing in the way. If you have the code, as soon as this deal goes through, now, again, the licensing thing, that's the last thing, because now you admit you have the code. Hasbro wants it to be on Game Pass, wants it to be in front of people. Put the thing out, right? Re-release it in some way. Do whatever you have to do to get that to happen. So hopefully that is what happens in the next couple months. I mean, the deal is going to go through very, very soon, so we shouldn't have to wait till the next console generation to get these games back. It should be soon. Let me know what you think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you want to support me anywhere else, I have 2 other YouTube channels. I have a Twitter account, Discord account. All the links are in the description below for you guys to follow, subscribe, and join me in all those other places. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.